We're missing a friend today, if you haven't noticed, and that is our nice little plant. It has a name, I just forget what it is. It's not our name to give, it's the place we come to. So we apologize for 2 episodes that don't have our lovely plant. It was just mismanaging on my part, forgot to grab it. And welcome back to Young and Excellent. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the goodies. But we dive into youth stories in Sarnia, Lambton. I guess not just youth, just young people in general. If you think you're young and excellent, come share your story with us. We'd love to hear it, and we love to dive into all the adventures. So yeah, thank you so much for coming back. And thank you to the Sarnia Journal for supporting us, publishing us, and sponsoring us. We greatly appreciate them recognizing the hard work we do, and you should recognize their hard work as well. So subscribe to their emails because their daily email blasts really are incredible. Keep me in the know. You want to be in the know. Yeah. We are joined by Ryan, who is a community member who has done all amazing things with Theatre Sarnia, but he also knows the trades, he also has passion for mental health, and he also has passion for youth services. So enjoy this conversation, and we hope you learn from it today. Doing right now, my friend? Last time I saw you, I think it was White Christmas, but
yeah,
I had to leave right after the show, so I didn't get to say like, good job, you killed it.
Oh, you can say it now if you want.
You killed it.
No, what was the first part?
Oh,
good job.
Good job.
That's on. Okay, we got that. Perfect. That's recorded.
Good job. Yeah, it was really enjoyable. And plus, Sean was great too.
That show was a lot.
Yeah.
That was
a lot of costume changes.
A lot of quick changes, and we were lucky enough not to have any mishaps with that.
Oh, thank goodness.
And I learned how to tap dance in 6 weeks.
Oh.
And we threw it together, but I was blessed with like a really strong cast, and I don't know if you've ever worked with JC before, but
no, I haven't worked with JC.
Lord, she's just an uber talent.
Yeah, because she used to do Act 2 with me, but by the time she was in the dance troupe for Act 2, I was already moving up into leadership positions. Yeah. So we've never actually been on stage together, I don't think.
Wildly talented.
Yeah, and she's insanely talented.
And like does not have the ego to go with it, which is
she's a sweetheart.
A beautiful thing because she makes it very easy to, like, she set a bar without trying to, and then I just tried to match her.
I feel like everyone in the cast had just stellar credentials to be on that stage.
It was incredible. It's one of the best theater experiences that I've ever had. And
that makes me so happy.
I've been in a handful since getting into it.
Yeah. So, okay. What are you doing now? So
what am I doing now?
That was my first part of the question.
Right
what are you doing now?
I actually just started into what I'm calling my retirement phase of work.
I love it. I don't know what that means, though.
I've been a laborer for 12 years, going inside of tanks and vessels and working and abusing my body.
Ugh.
And I just started a job with Century Fire as like just safety and hull watch and bottle watch, which is all very important stuff, but I don't have to go inside anymore. Now I can just yell at all the people that I know that I've worked with for so long and just tell them to do more work. And I don't have to do it. So I call it retirement because I no longer have to use my body to earn a living. I can use my mind and just talk to people and have conversations and look out for the people around me, which is always way better.
That must feel like amazing.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. So what led you to getting this new position then?
Just reaching a point, and I'm riddled with injuries, and my body hurts all the time. So this opportunity came up. I know a lot of guys that work there, and a lot of people have moved on. They go through kind of cycles of guys as they get more opportunities. And a good friend of mine just started with Toronto Fire.
Oh, sweet.
So there was a couple holes there. So I applied and talked to a couple guys and was lucky enough to get in. So
that's awesome.
There's an influx of bodies for the shutdown season. And then I'm just going to try to work my way into staying on regularly.
So what about labor besides obviously putting your body through all of that kind of labor? Did you not like?
So this is the caveat. There's nothing that I didn't like. I loved my work. I loved being a tank rat, and I loved getting in there. It was just harder and harder and harder at the end of the day to wind down and to like maintain physical activity afterwards. And I play sports, and I have like a little brother, so like trying to go and do anything with him when your body's sore every day, it sucked. So
mentally draining too.
And I'm not getting younger. So it kind of came down to what are the options that I have, because where I was there wasn't really a leadership opportunity. Whereas moving over to Century Fire, there's now an opportunity for me to advance and kind of grow. They're bringing in a lot of really cool new stuff, which I love. And there might be an opportunity down the road for me to kind of take over and be a lead in that with the experience that I bring in. So there's just a better, I mean, where I was kind of still. It was nice and it was pretty and it had a nice view, but where I'm going has an endless view and like an infinity pool.
Oh, that's so nice. And again, like you said, setting you up for that retirement kind of life.
Exactly.
That's what I always think. Even at 27, I'm like, okay, what's going to set me up for the best retirement so I don't have to stress, I don't have to worry, I don't have to like go through anything in my 50s to get there. Like it's just, I just smooth sail. So I get what you're saying. And
it's finding the things that you love. And I've been at war with myself for a long time saying, this isn't what I want to do. This isn't where I want to be. But as often as I try to walk away from it and I try to build something new, I always fall back because this is what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an opportunity to do a lateral move with progression instead of hitting the top of the ladder.
Yeah, which is so nice.
Yeah,
good for you, man. That's awesome. So when did you start that job?
Friday.
What? Oh, wow, look at that.
So,
okay.
Did all my training and stuff.
Already.
And then walked by like a dozen people on site today with my shiny red coveralls, and they're like, "Oh,
I love that.
That's pretty new." And I was like, and they'll never get dirty, which is something that I can say with confidence, and I'm so happy about that.
That's true. That's a good
it's
feeling.
Not even a slight. Like it's usually when you see people with clean coveralls, you're like, but now I'm like, I'm doing my job. If they get dirty, something went wrong.
100%.
So it's awesome.
So obviously I know you're into theater because we just talked about that, and obviously I'm at the Imperial as well.
I'm very excited.
You came. Sorry, what were you saying?
I'm very excited for the Wolves.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited.
Your director is one of the most talented people that I've ever met.
The best person on the earth. Oh my God.
I'm excited for you guys and what you're able to kind of draw in from her and that experience. Like I know a lot of you in the cast, and
you just worked with one.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
so I'm very excited.
Thank you. I'm really excited.
Your really important question about me. Go on.
Yeah. But I was gonna say is that I left Theatre Sarnia. I'd like to go off to Toronto. I think that's when you came in. So we actually missed each other completely. So I've never worked with you on a show before at all.
Yeah, you're lost.
Yeah, I guess so. It will happen one day. But why'd you get into it? What got started?
It's a fun story. So being a skits kid, Dan White is actually my uncle.
What?
So,
Dan White is your uncle?
Yeah, Mr. Uncle Dan.
Sorry, I love Dan White.
there's a lot of people on that bandwagon. There's a lot of people on the other one, but people are open to have their opinions.
Very fair.
I've known him my entire life.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, it was one of those weird phases where you go through your rebellion, and I never saw myself as a theater kid, like one of the drama kids, right? I wanted to be an athlete. I was trying to find out who I was.
Yeah, fair.
So they were always kind of separate from me, and he had the utmost respect for them. He treated them like his children.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I did a couple of reviews, like I did my grade 10 year, 12, and then my victory lap year. Like I just kind of sprinkled stuff throughout.
Yeah.
But it was actually not until 2009 is when I left skits. It wasn't until 2017, a friend of mine, Tara Brennan.
Oh yeah.
Just I don't know if we can name drop. It's not like
it's fine. It's Sarnia.
It's
Everyone
famous
knows
people. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
I was working on the pipeline, and she randomly called me and said, "Hey, my dad is doing A Christmas Story, the musical, and he needs more guys to sing. And I've heard you sing karaoke at the bar. Do you want to come and sing for him?" And I was like, that sounds like a weird opportunity. So I took it and then just got immersed into this. So I did White Christmas. I did Exit Laughing right after that. I helped with the producers. I was in Evil Dead.
Yes.
I think I'm on my 9th or 10th production since 2017.
That's
I did a couple of the outdoor ones. I did a show at Theater 42. We did improv at 42. And then that got me into, I joined the board of directors as their youngest member. I ran the community engagement committee. I started a fundraising committee, and I took over the junior youth group.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, because that's how we met.
Yeah.
We were bartending.
We don't like walk and like try some stuff. We're like, oh, we're gonna do this. Let's just cannonball in.
Yeah.
So
I remember that
merged.
though, because we were at the Capitol Bar. I don't know if you remember meeting me at all, because this was when I was like, oh God, it would have been like 2018 probably.
Mhm.
So the junior youth group I used to run.
Yeah.
And so the year I wasn't doing it was the year I'm talking about. And so I remember I was like bartending, and then you were talking with the junior youth group, and you made a comment, and I was like, oh, well, like I used to run that program. And you were like, oh my God. And then we got into like this huge conversation about it. And like, it wasn't a bad comment, don't worry.
No.
I'm just saying that you made a comment about like volunteering with Ruth and the John and Paul and everything. And then we got into the conversation of how it should be structured and everything. And I was like, man, this is really cool that he's gotten so involved so quick. Cause I think that's so impressive, because not a lot of people can do that.
Well, it's a lot of what I just said is I cannonball into stuff. I don't really tiptoe into anything, which can get me in trouble sometimes. But being a big brother, I was trying to find an outlet for my little, and just kept thinking of the things that I wished that I had. So when I got into the youth group and saw the potential that it had, so it wasn't that that it was ever run poorly or anything.
But it was, I joined the year it started back up after they used to do it at Campbell Street. So it was still very much in the rebuilding years. And then I did it from 2010 all the way to 2014.
Oh, wow.
So I did the junior, then Anthony obviously did the seniors. So that's how we split it up. And then John, Ruth, and Paul were like my mentors. But it was still very much in the rebuilding phase. And even now it's back in a rebuilding phase because of COVID. So youth services are always ebb and flowing.
Oh, they're all over the place. And I was in the child and youth care program at Lambton.
I didn't know that. How did I not know that?
Yeah.
What?
I didn't graduate. I have a semester left.
Oh, why didn't you finish?
Because it's really hard, but everyone should do it. We can keep that one. No, it just kept running into complications of trying to survive while being a mature student and having the extra impact of being an adult and trying to go to school and not having like a secondary income or a partner or anything, and trying to balance that. It always fell into like, I can't afford to do this. And then I would just, like I said, I'd fall back into work because it was what I was good at, and I was sought after by a few people. So there still is some things that I need to do, but that introduced me to so much, and I fell in love with that program and what I could do with it. So Richard and I actually created a full structured system of 3 years in junior, 3 years in intermediate, 3 years in senior, and like how they would domino onto each other and then complete like the perfect, like go on and you can do anything anywhere.
Oh, cool.
And it never came to pass, which was unfortunate, but we built it.
That's in reference to youth theater.
Yes. Yes. How we like kind of dreamed the programs would look, and they picked a lot of it up. It was just a really aggressive, like I did it as a school project. So it was aggressive to be like, we should try this. And they're like, we should take steps into trying this.
Absolutely.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
But it's in really good hands now. Like Jackie took it over. And
Jackie's phenomenal. Jackie's so fantastic. I love her. It's
wild to me that she's not 50 years old with the amount of experience and talent that she has.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, honestly, like I've never thought of it that way, but
it's crazy. Because when you listen to the things that she's done, she runs a business, how many shows she has in her repertoire. And she's like,
she'll direct and choreograph. Yeah. And I'm like, wow.
Oh, just like in my late 20s. And I was like, whoa, you're dumb. Like, take that back. No, like I'm 30 and I'm struggling to remember lines. And you're just like, oh, I know all these shows.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm very thankful. Like a lot of people actually are thankful for where Imperial Theater is like kind of gone towards after COVID. At first, when I came back, I was a little bit taken back because it's still very much community driven. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. But there's definitely more capital coming into the theater because of all the outside shows going on. And so when I first got back, it kind of was jarring because I was like, oh my God, like we're not doing shows like Anne of Green Gables or Secret Garden. Like we have upped the ante completely. Even before COVID, it was up the ante. Like, as soon as Brian took over, I felt like it was like, let's like step it up.
2018, I've talked to a few people. Like we've done really good shows in 15, 16, and 17 from what I hear. The very first show I ever saw was Hunchback.
Yeah. Hunchback. I didn't get to see it.
I saw Hunchback, and then I was in
was that Evil
A Christmas Story.
Oh, Christmas Story.
So like it was, I saw that, did this, and then just like 2018, the beginning of 2018 when they did the producers, what Ian was able to accomplish on that stage with like the size of the production and everything that they did, it completely revolutionized what we've done. We've taken leaps and bounds since then. And he was really aggressive and passionate about what he did, and it fared well for us. We've taken huge swings and we've put on some of the best shows. And I don't know if you've seen shows in Stratford lately or gone to any other community theaters.
Oh yeah, I'm always shopping around.
It blows my mind the production value and the talent that we have in this city.
We're
because
very lucky.
You can see the same show somewhere else and you go, oh, that's good. Like, they're very talented people, but like, I don't know about all this. And then the theater magic has to really come to life. Whereas here, you have the theater magic, but it's all there.
Well, and it's all volunteers who are just putting their heart and soul into everything.
Community baffles me.
Yeah, I think it's such a beautiful testament to Sarnia as a culture, what the Imperial is able to accomplish. And like, I'm just so thankful I'm back in it, because I was so worried I wasn't going to get
back in it.
Thank you. But I really want to ask you though, like, have you always been a very community driven person? Because it seems like there was a switch when you joined theater, but it sounds like you've always kind of been in that realm.
So honestly, I think being a big brother, that started in the summer of 2017. So that's when things really turned around for me. I will admit that I continued to be kind of lost in who I was and what I wanted to do after high school and going to university. And I started playing like World of Warcraft and like stopped caring about school. Oh yeah. But then I was like, oh, school's also supposed to be a thing. Whoops. And then stopped going there. Like, I was at Brock for Con Ed, and I did a year of it and was like, video games are better.
Okay, so I'm seeing like a huge pattern, because you're talking about Con Ed, then you're talking about CYC program, talking about Big Brother.
It's always been
youth. Oh wow.
And that's always been kind of a knowing how I grew up and like what I went through and my childhood and like the trauma and experiences that I had. I have a huge tattoo of Robin Williams right here.
Oh,
and it's
beautiful.
Like a combination of all of his movies. That's somebody that I look up to, because for a long time, a lot of people have been known as somebody who like smiles through everything and always quick with a joke and all that, to hide like everything going on inside. And that's something that he was excellent at, is because like one of the quotes that he has, if it's even him and they just put his face on it, but like just the people going through the most will always do the most to make sure other people are happy, because we know what it's like to be alone in the dark.
Absolutely.
So my life is always kind of geared towards what can I do to make sure that no other kid has to go through that. So that's when I was in Con Ed, it was to be a teacher, and I wanted to teach all ranges. And then it was going into counseling so that I could be like a student counselor in schools and stuff, and work with the kids that way. The CYC program introduced me to the same kind of thing, but that's where it all really took a change. And now it's the passion that I have now is to develop programming for mental health addictions and family counseling for men that work in the trades.
Oh my God, yes, please.
So I
think that's like a huge thing, because I do think there's a crisis with men's mental health, and it has been for a very long time.
It's wild and it's unhinged.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
And it's starting to come to light now. There's a lot more focus on it, which is really nice, but it's still not enough.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're still marred with like, there's so many things going on in the world, and it's buried, I find, in all of the other things that are happening, because now, especially with social media, it has taken a toxic kind of hold on everybody, and now everything is a problem everywhere. And that just makes it harder to kind of have a voice really heard.
I agree. It's like almost oversaturated.
And people fall into traps. And right now it seems that anything that you want to believe, you can look it up and you can go down any wormhole. The truth can be right there, right on either side of an argument. And it's hard to kind of get people to understand. So I have worked with a lot of broken people. I've been a broken person for a long time. So I see the need for it. And I think there is definitely a way to get through to them and get them to be able to talk and have it be organic and not forced, and make a significant change and a shift in the mentality, especially in that area. Like the trades is a really hard stone to chip through.
Yeah, and it's like every Sarnian's like kind of gold mine.
That's home, right? You work in the trades or you work in the hospital.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's what it all is, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a big one.
It's really tough, but it was something that was really the first time I had a fire inside of me that I was like, this needs to happen. So even though now I'm 4 years removed from finishing one semester of a program, everything that I have done has been a building block to try to make that happen. And looking up like the legislation and stuff and here and there, because the dream is to have basically an office trailer at every site, so it can be
that'd be
anonymous
sick.
drop-ins, and like there's ideas and stuff that come up. And
Well, if you're an investor out there, this
honestly,
is a good idea.
I will take anyone's money, and I
Yeah.
promise it goes to good use.
No, but that is a beautiful, beautiful testament to your life journey, I find,
Yeah.
because I agree with you. I don't think there is such thing as setbacks. There's things that can make you stop and pause, but even just going to schooling, even though you have a semester
Yeah.
and you know, it doesn't matter, because all of those collections of experiences are bringing you to your purpose. And I feel like society doesn't set up our foundation to have hobbies that are meaningful. A lot of times when you say hobbies, it's like knitting or like going to play a sport or this or that. It sounds like you have found a passionate hobby of yours, which is helping youth, helping people around you, and really understanding mental health.
Yeah.
That's really cool, because not a lot of people take their spare time to do that.
Yeah, and it's a shame that they don't, because I think the stigma around it, not just in men, but in people in general. People try to avoid it because it makes them uncomfortable. And that's what that is something that I found that I jumped right into. Like, what makes you uncomfortable? Now let's talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the ways that I had a breakthrough personally, was sitting in that uncomfortable space and just like letting it kind of take over. And I've had that happen with friends, with youth, like with my little, like a few times of just, if you're uncomfortable, like we don't even have to talk, just sit in that space and just kind of figure it out in your own mind if that's where you need to be. And there's too many people that, and I'm guilty for that as well, is just the busy hands. Right? You keep your mind busy, you have too many hobbies, you work too many hours, you do all these different things because you're burying what's right in front of you because you don't want to face it.
Absolutely, 110%.
So
you get burned out.
Yeah, hi. Hi there.
Yeah, hi burnout.
Sleep what?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's fun because it's a challenge for me. And I love to be challenged in that way of, this seems like an unbreakable person, or this seems like an unattainable task. And I'm like, all right, well, let's cannonball. Like, let's jump in.
Let's go for it. Let me see. Does that mean that you don't have a fear of failing, or is that fear still very present?
I don't have a fear of failing. I embrace it. So similar to what you were just saying, for me, it's people say that like every door closed is another opportunity. And that's how I look at it. Every time, and that's like from a sales background, because that's also something that I love to do.
Fair.
Is every time you're told no, it's just a new opportunity for them to say yes, right? So there's no block. It's just a different size hurdle, or it looks different. So once I get my mind set on certain things, so this is one of them. There's like a whole wellness and recovery center that I want to start too, that once my mind gets set on those things, like now I'm going to make everything happen and start to come together so it can happen, because I don't need to do it so that my name is on it. And that was the big thing with the youth group. I don't care that I wrote a program, and I don't care that it's set up like this. What I care about is these kids walk out of here happy and comfortable and confident, and they've learned something and they've made new friends. So like what we were able to accomplish in a 12-week program and put on a stage, I was never like, look what I did with those kids. They wrote the show.
Absolutely.
It was like, look what you guys
Providing
did.
a platform for them
Exactly.
to succeed.
So all I want to be able to do is know that there is change. So it doesn't need to be like, Ryan did this, or this was Metzler's thing, blah, 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 blah.
So you're looking for sustainability.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because long term, there needs to be change from like the root.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get to the root. You got to dig out the weeds, and you sometimes have to replant it. Like, you know, it's just, that's just what it is.
And I suck at gardening. I mean, I'll plant seeds all day, but it's getting the help of, and that's what I love about the community is getting the help of all the people around you. It can make those things come together. You just have to get them to see that the seeds that you're planting are, there's fruit to bear.
Absolutely. So earlier you said that you felt lost.
How's your brain do that?
It was screaming. So you said that you felt lost when you were coming out of high school and transitioning into adulthood. I think that's a really relatable sentiment. And so I would love to know, how did you get through that? Like, how did you overcome feeling lost? Because that can be really daunting.
There's a cheesy answer.
Give it to me.
But that, well, I mean, I would say video games, but I think the root of that is actually creativity. Because I sing, and now I perform. Like, I can dance and I can do all these things, but that all stemmed from, I would sink my time into, whether it was Destiny or World of Warcraft or Kingdom Hearts or Zelda. oh, life comes from these games.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was never a like play just to seek out what happens. You're looking at colors, you're looking at things, you're finding strategies. So every time that I was stressed out or I was angry or was going through something, video games got all of that out of me.
Yeah.
So I found myself kind of walking through all these different places, sorting my life out as I was going, because I would actually put myself into these characters, which was a lot of fun, because when you were angry, you could do that. And that's before I found my love of fitness and everything else, which is now really taken over.
Yeah, which is not, that's great.
I love it. And I sitting and listening to your previous interview, like it blew my mind, because that's so important. And I think I've walked by there with kids inside before, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it would be perfect for bigs to
I'm sure they're gonna probably set something up.
Oh yeah, because a lot of those kids need to find a way. And I mean, using mine as an example, we've been matched for 8 years, and he used to be obsessed with basketball, but he would break his wrist. It seemed like every time he would try to dribble one. So it's trying to find a new way for him to move and and he was always so, it was imposing trying to think like, well, I'll take him to the gym with me. And he came a couple of times, but as well as he was doing, and we were all supporting him, because like where I go has a very strong community, and like everybody supports everybody. He would tell me like, I feel like I was slowing them down, or like everyone was looking at me and I don't want to disappoint anyone. I was like, okay, we need to find an alternative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because trying to set a standard so high and like, well, I need to be able to do this because other people can do it. It's breaking that mindset, because that's what stops a lot of people from chasing that. And that's one of the things, again, that I love about where I go, is there is never that. Like you can scale things down to the very minimum, where I can jump on a 30-inch box. We'll have people step up onto a small stool, and you're getting cheered on the exact same. You're getting your score counted the exact same. You're still moving. You're still getting fit. And that's
the effort is what's important.
Exactly. And the mindset of, I just need to move. Right. And it's not, you need to progress and you need to get to this point. You need to be able to do this. No, whatever you can do, that's all we want you to do.
Yeah, I love that. So in high school, you said that you really wanted to be an athlete, and that like you didn't really do theater, even though you had an uncle in it. But then when you felt lost, you turned to video games. I feel like that's a very interesting shift.
I should have been in drama in high school, but it was like, well, my uncle's like the drama teacher. So if I get in, they'll be like, he's your uncle. And if I don't get in, I'll be like, you're my uncle. So I was like, that's a weird line.
It is a weird line, but I feel like that need for movement, that need to get aggression out, that need, like sports, like in high school let you do that. Like I was an athlete all throughout high school and all throughout university, and I loved it.
Played football, and that's what started.
But I find it interesting that you reconnected with that later on. So did you feel like that was a little bit of inner child work then?
A little bit. I mean, I've played hockey since I was 4. So I've always been on the ice, and other sports have come and go, but I always got bored of them and would always fall back to hockey. I played football in high school, and that's actually how I broke this knee and severed that ligament and sprained these ligaments and my meniscus. And
well, good for you for healing, man.
Yeah, we're healed. But I mean, that was always something that I wanted to do. It was always trying to be active and find a way to be active. But I found the best way to do it. Here it comes. The best way to do it was keeping my mind active. Yeah. And that's what really, I think, propelled me, is finding this new form of fitness and also staying active. My mind activity is what kept me going and what kept me alive and kept me moving forward.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
And
that was a beautiful sentence.
Now finding like my day-to-day fitness, it's all intertwined because everything's engaged at the same time. So like I play hockey in 3 different leagues. In the winter, I might play in the summer. I work. I'm a big. Yeah. I do theater. Like so it's
just very community involved.
Yes.
But I also think it's really awesome because a lot of those hobbies and passions you were talking about, I've found like there's almost 3 themes, which is like creativity, movement, and mental health. And in theater, you get all 3.
It's why I love it so much.
Yeah, and now that's why I think it's so addicting. Yeah. Is because you're getting a lot of needs met in one place, and then you're also socializing too. So there's so many different layers to it. Do you got any like projects on the go?
No, I'm excited for next season to come out. so that we can figure out what we're doing with our summer. But really just watching everybody else blossom. Like I'm excited for the wolves. I'm very excited to see Little Mermaid.
Oh, me too.
Because
so
that's going to be a
excited.
phenomenal show, and Jackie is just silly talented, and she's got a really strong cast.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Frozen Jr. too.
Yes.
I'm really excited to see that.
And I talked to her actually at the Volunteer Appreciation Night the other night. And
she said, I couldn't go.
She said it was, they did their first tech rehearsal, and she said, I didn't have to tell anybody to remember their lines or to go on stage. Like they got it. And I was like,
so happy.
Yes.
Oh,
so
that makes me so happy.
What's nice is that I can say that I don't have anything on the go for the first time in a very long time. And it feels incredible.
Oh, I can only imagine. I'm after the wolves. I feel like that will be my life until
Alice
in Wonderland starts up, and then I'm gonna be like, what?
I still don't sleep, but like that'll come.
Yeah, sleep will come. You know, get some melatonin. All right. So last question for you: what has been the greatest piece of advice you've been given?
Well,
it's a hard one, man.
Yeah. What are you doing? Why couldn't it be like, what's your favorite color?
Well, this last question is gonna be a toughie.
Yeah. I think I had it written down on my phone, but I didn't bring it with me.
That's okay.
But basically, the idea that you are the own author to your story.
Oof, I like that.
Being the author to your own story gives you power and control over the decisions that you make, and even the ones out of your control, because you get to decide how you react to them. Yeah. And that's changed a lot of things in the last 5 years of my life.
I can only imagine. I'm a firm believer in that. My mom always instilled in my head that your choices is what makes your map, kind of thing. Yeah. That you are the one that is controlling your own destiny. Yeah. And of course, the universe gets involved in its way, but I think that is very, very beautiful, though.
Yeah, it can be as powerful as you want it to be. You just gotta kind of sit back in the quiet and listen.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. It's been so nice to chat with you on
an
even more in-depth level.
One day we'll be on stage together.
One day.